Keep singing. Good morning. Do me a favor, invite somebody to share. Tell them coffee time is on. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We're talking about relationships this morning. Relationships. Once you get on, do me a favor, just say good morning so I know you're here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. When you get on, say good morning so I know you're here. If you don't mind. If you don't mind. I'm having my first cup of the day. Got kind of a early late start. Didn't go to bed till about 4. So I was working till 4 and didn't get into bed till about 4 or 5. So I had a late start. And I hadn't had a chance to have my first cup, so I'm just having it now. But good morning for all of you that are on. Thank you for spending a part of your morning with me. Chanel Wells Bracy. Good morning, Chanel. Good to see you. J. Denise Kennedy. Good morning. Finna get the ball rolling. Was just kind of just giving everybody a chance to at least say good morning who hadn't said good morning. Uh, but I'm so grateful that you all are on this morning. Um, Christopher Allen, what's up, brother? What's going on, man? Good to see you this morning. See you out there doing your thing. Keep up the good work. You're reaching somebody, helping somebody. When everybody do their part, God is able to use us all. Tracy, what's up? Good morning. So this morning I wanted to talk about marriage. I'm sorry, relationships, but I want to give you some information in regards to marriage. Um, Relationships, I don't believe are supposed to be. I don't believe they're supposed to be difficult. I don't believe it. I believe relationships become difficult because you're not just dealing with the person, you're dealing with their history. Relationships become difficult because you're not just dealing with the person, you're dealing with their history. When you are dealing, whether it's dating, family, friends, workplace, uh, you're dealing with whatever the age of that person or people, you're dealing with that many years of function and dysfunction. If a person is 40 years old, you're dealing with 40 years of function and dysfunction, which means you're dealing with 40 years of functional behavior and dysfunctional behavior. And sometimes one outweighs the other, and sometimes they're equally the same. Other times, um, you're dealing with that person's chemistry, you're dealing with their makeup, you're dealing with their perception, you're dealing with their abuse, you're dealing with their anger, you're dealing with their discomfort. You know, there are great people who have been in bad relationships and they finally found the sweetheart of their life, the one that they believe completes them. And they're like, oh, wow, yeah, this is it for me. But because they were in previous relationships where they were overlooked, discredited, not given enough attention, then what they're going to do in the healthy relationship is they're going to act out of the pain and the dysfunction of previous experiences. So you're not just dealing with the person, you're dealing with their history. I tell people to try not commit, to try not to commit to a marriage engagement until you've seen every part of that person. You need to see them when they're angry. You need to see how they recess. You need to see them when they're hurting. You need to see them when they're sad. You need to see them if they're moody. You know, you need to see all sides so you know what you're getting yourself into. Informed decisions make better decisions. And whenever you're in relationships is covenant. It's covenant. And you don't want to be in covenant with someone you don't know. So in getting to know someone, we got to take it back to the grassroots, because you have people that are in romantic relationships that um, that relationship is not going to end well, and it won't be the fault of either of them. It's going to be what they didn't know and what they could not conclude, which you could probably put on both of them. But there's a scripture in the Bible. It says, "My people perish because of a lack of what they know, a lack of knowledge." Gary Randolph, what up, bro? My people perish because of a lack of knowledge. What you don't know has the ability to infuse peace or riots, depending on the person that you're dealing with. So I want to talk about romantic relationships first, and then I'm going to talk about some family dynamics, because in a lot of cases, because the family dynamic is off, every relationship is going to be wrong unless that person gets some healing and some resolve. You are a product of your father's house. Whatever happened when you were a kid, when you were growing up, has made you who you are today. Whatever lessons you've learned, whatever lessons you've been able to apply, whatever changes that you've made in your mindset as well as your behavior is a result of the information that you've been exposed to. If you were not exposed to great information, then you will not have a great outcome. We are to grow through every experience that we go through. We're to grow through every experience that we go through. And some situations have left us in a perpetual state of messed up and vulnerable. So I want to talk about romantic relationships, because I do believe that there's an approach that we have to take. One, there needs to be constant conversation. There needs to be an openness and a readiness from both parties. It's not good for one to be able to be vulnerable and open up their heart and share, and the other one does not. If you do not have honesty up front, you're going to build on a lie. And whatever lie you build off is going to become the fruit of the fall. Uh, I don't think anyone brings someone to their home for the first time and you take them directly to the bedroom and the closet. If you do, something's wrong, something's off. Because as people, we share more when we get to know you more. I'm not telling a person everything about me on the first date. But as I get to know them, as I grow trust with them, trust in them, it allows me the safety to be able to share more. The problem with our or with this generation in some regard is that we don't have guardrails and guidelines. We share too much too soon. You go all the way in sharing everything. You have nothing to build. You've not laid a foundation. You don't know who this person is. It's just that you saw them, you felt some kind of way, and you begin to move based on those feelings. And those feelings are natural in some regard, but sometimes those feelings are the reaction of previous pain. You need to be healed before you start entertaining people. There are people who engage relationally but refuse to be honest and upfront. And when I say refuse to be honest and upfront, they're not lying. It's not like they're putting forth um, some front, some lie. No, that's not what they're doing. Their inability to be able to open up tells you just how bad they've been hurt. It's that resolve, that inability to be open. There's an openness that everybody has to have when you're trying to get to know people. You share your heart, you share your mind, you share your will, you share the things that make you tick, you share the things that hurt your feelings. There's an openness that you have to have when you're in a romantic relationship, and there's a level of being vulnerable that you have to become accustomed to. If you do not want to be vulnerable, do not get involved. Nobody wants to be hurt, so we walk around with all of these guards. And what happens as we walk? I need to. It's just too quiet. I gotta. I'm gonna play my record player. Y'all hold on. Sorry. I don't want to hear the ducks quacking. I'd rather hear music in the background than the ducks quacking. But if everybody takes the position that they don't want to be open, they don't want to be vulnerable, they don't want to express the truth of their heart and the position that they've taken with their mind. Hold on. I'm so sorry. So if everybody takes that approach, that you don't want to be open, you don't want to be vulnerable because you don't want to get hurt, then you go into a situation with your guards up, and the person you're with never gets the opportunity to see the real you. So they build the relationship off of the part of you that you've exposed, that in that fragment, that percentage, that portion that you share with them, they try and build a whole relationship. So now they've gotten to know the part of you that you shared and been open about. You don't share your past, what hurt you, what made you mad. You know, you were an orphan, and because you don't share that, they build the relationship around the percentage of you that you have shared. Now they are expecting that part of you to show up every time. So when something happens and they see another part that you haven't shared, now you put the relationship in a whirlwind because you are showing up as a stranger. And it's all because you've not shared all parts of you. I really believe you should talk about the parts of you that are uncomfortable. What makes you tick? I mean, and what to what level do you tick based on how you tick? You have to share the part of you that when certain, I'll say, conversations or experiences, when certain things come up, it makes you feel some kind of way, because we more often than not hold people accountable for how they made us feel, but we haven't done the groundwork of telling them why we feel that way. So we blame people for who we've become because they triggered something we didn't tell. Meaning, you didn't open up and tell me that was a soft spot. I didn't know it was a soft spot. I didn't know that was going to make you withdraw, close up, shut down, leave. You're leaving. I don't know what I've done. You shut down. There's no communication because I've triggered something in you. And I'm sure if I triggered it, it was by accident. So now you make me pay for your triggers that you've not communicated. And it's all because maybe it's something that happened in your childhood or previous relationships. And it's unfair. It's unfair. I have a rule in leadership. You cannot rebuke what you have not trained. Meaning, if someone gets up and does something that I've not trained them in, then I can't rebuke them. So the correction now becomes it becomes it comes through training. It comes through understanding. I can't tell them you were wrong. You shouldn't have did this. No, no. Well, let me tell you the right way. So if I've trained you and I've told you, and you still choose to do things your way, then a rebuke is necessary. So in relationships, you can't get mad at something that has not been communicated. And sometimes because of the distance and because of the life that we live, we have to keep things in the forefront of our mind to make sure we're communicating on a consistent basis. Something triggers you, you are to have constant conversations around it. You can't be selfish and say, I'm gonna say it one time, I ain't gonna say it no more. Well, there's a lot that we have to unfold in a day, and remembering things on a daily basis is more of a challenge based on the level of responsibility that you have. So gentle conversations. Hey, you remember when we talked about the situation that happened to me when I did such and such, or those conversations have to be had often. I'm gonna tell you something else that you have to do relationally. You got to deal with your triggers. Good morning, Tina White, McPherson, and Shawana Don. Good morning. Good to see y'all. So you have to deal with your triggers. While you are dealing with your triggers, you have to also deal with the landmines that lead up to your triggers. It is unfair for you to be mad at someone and you have not communicated to them what makes you mad. Now I give you an example. I would like to believe that I'm a better listener than I am communicator, meaning unless I'm clowning and cutting the fool, my communication is a result of what I've heard. I don't have preconceived thoughts when I'm conversing with a person. I generally go with whatever they said. And when I don't have understanding, I ask questions. Hey, so if I'm understanding you correctly, you don't like flowers, really? Well, did something happen? Bad experience? It's my job in communicating. For me to understand, I have to get to the root of the issue. And once I get to the root, I can understand the fruit. And it makes a mark in my mind on what is for days to come. There are some things that should not be discussed in passing. If it's important for you or important to you, you have to make time, sit down, and you have to build moments around what's important to you. in order to staple it in the other person's memory. I think we're too hard on each other. We expect people to because I'm your number one. You should remember. You remember what you want to remember. Well, yeah, but depending on the proximity is going to determine what I retain. If we are in close proximity for a long time, it's going to help me remember more. But if we on and off, space here, close here, and it's no consistency in terms of the relationship, then it's more likely for me to forget some things concerning you. So, one of the things that I really believe you have to do is you have to really get to know each other. There have been times I've been wrong about situations relationally, but it was birthed through ignorance, meaning I didn't know. It's I don't think I've ever in a relationship intentionally said something deliberate to hurt someone, meaning I took an intimate secret or something they shared with me and I used it against them to beat them with it. That's not how I roll. That's not who I am as a person. It's not. If I know something offends you, something hurts you, I'm gonna try and stay away from that. If I happen to do it once or twice, I can promise you it was an accident. But you do not get to not communicate what it is and then hold me accountable for what I've done. That is unfair. And if you're doing that, it's going to always leave the relationship lopsided. Let me give you something else about honesty and transparency. You have to really communicate who you are, what you're dealing with in any relationship, especially romantically. Romantically, I think we are all shuffling things in our life that has been placed on us. We're doing our best to make it from one day to the next, and we're trying. And because of the pressure and the things that we've had to contend with, it has caused some level of short circuitness in our mind and our memory. There are times because of the pain that I've experienced that I am not able to remember certain things that surround that pain. That pain has created uh, such uneasiness that there are things that are I never forget. Um, I had a friend who would frequent the city. She didn't live here. And she and we were just friends, nothing romantic. We're just really good friends. And she was coming in town, and I had death in the family. And death for me, it just, in some regard, derails me. I'm not, depending on the task, the responsibilities involved kind of determines where my mind is going to be. But I can promise you, I am not completely whole in death. I don't try to be. I'm going to allow myself to grieve, and whatever happens during my grief, as long as I am not intentionally antagonizing other people or hurting other people, I'm going to allow myself to grieve. Jesus did. And then he didn't let nobody tell him how long to grieve. Now, when I have and I'm responsible for other people, I have to be a manager of my grief to manage where I grieve. So I had death in the family. The friend she and I had planned on her coming into town, and her coming into town, we're gonna hang out. We've done it many times before, and when the death happened, I kind of my mind went blank, so I didn't follow up with her. Months later, she texted me and said, "Hey, I was supposed to come hang out. If you didn't want to, you could have told me." And I communicated to her, "I am so sorry. Had death in the family as a result of that. I am so sidetracked, and I am catching up on things that I've missed because it's like your body. If you get a cut, all of the blood from the body rushes to the injured part to repair it because the body was set up to heal itself. It's the same thing in death. Many times I am running to the aid of those that are affected the most. And it's in that time of aiding them that I'm forgetting stuff that I'm supposed to do. So I apologize to her. I'm so sorry. I missed it, had death in the family, and it just sidetracked me. And I'm sorry. I remember her texting back, "While I grieve with you over the death, and thank you for telling me, and I do understand. However, you didn't communicate that, and because you didn't communicate that, we cool, but I'll never come to Jacksonville again." Well, why are you saying we cool? Why did you say no beef, no problem, but I'll never do it again? No, you said that because you felt some kind of way because I didn't follow up. It is okay to be honest. If you listen to people talk, people are so accustomed to dishonesty that it's hard for them to embrace truth. And here's why: God created us for truth. And when we are dishonest, we train our soul to separate from truth. And the more separated we get from the truth, the more difficult it becomes for us to recognize truth. So we think everybody's gaming the way that we are. So it becomes hard for us to trust other people because we can't see truth in them because we've been removed from truth. That separation creates a lack of trust. The trust technically is not lost in the other person. We don't trust ourselves, and because we don't trust ourselves, it's hard to extend what you do not contain. So she judged me, misjudged me. She had no compassion, and because of the state of mind that I was in at the time, I responded back, "It is well," and deleted her, blocked her from my. Because if this is the type of person that you are, I don't think in my life I'm going to be able to deal with you down the road. There has to be points and moments of grace. And because I don't expect people to love or like the way that I love or like, I look for people to be able to understand. And when you don't, it just determines where I place you in my circle. I can still love you from afar. If I see you, I'm gonna give you a hug. "Hey, how you been doing?" That's nothing. But you won't be in my inner circle because you don't understand harmony. Harmony exists. It's different parts, but the same key. The foundation is the same, where we may see or sing different parts, but we are still in the same key. Her lack of understanding on what death does to me said to me, "We don't need to be friends." And we've been friends probably 15 years, maybe. And there were parts of me she didn't know. So when you're dealing with relationships, there's an area of grace that you have to give people, especially when you've not seen that side of them. Um, I'm the people that love me because I'm consistent. You see me in the mall, see me in church, see me in a business meeting. If I know you, there are going to be certain things that I do with you to make you know, hey, even though the moment does not demand who we've known each other to be, there are going to be certain things that I say to you to help you remind you or to help remind you, hey, I'm still TP. Sometimes in business, I see different people I know. I greet them in a manner that represents the room. There's a level of professionalism that you have to display when you're doing business. And I don't care how long I've known you, that room does not negate the special relationship that we have. So I have to handle the business. Once I handle the business, I get in my car, call you, hey, why you ain't tell me you was gonna be there? What up? That is the time that I can be me towards you. But if you're walking in offense already and you think people are funny acting, or maybe somebody told you I was funny acting, when I walk into that room in a professional manner because of what you heard or because of what you're already feeling, it opens the door for you to be even more offensive towards me because I didn't greet you in the manner that you felt like I should. But my view on it is this room doesn't entail the type of greeting that we have because of our history. I'm going to respect the room. It probably feels like I'm acting as if I don't know you. That's not it. I'm respecting the room and why I'm there. The purpose determines the position. So depending on the purpose, why I am there, that's going to determine my position with you. If I am there on an official capacity, I'm going to be operating full fledged 100% in the capacity that I'm there for. And if you are offended at who I am in this role, that says you don't have the grace for us to be friends. Um, and a lot of that happens in relationship. Michelle uh, Buckley, good morning to you. Let me tell you something else. Um, the other thing that I judge relationships by is harmony. Is it in tune with where I'm going and who I'm called to be? There are relationships that I have with people that represent a certain time in my life, but because I've turned the page or I'm on a different chapter, or maybe I've changed the book completely. Whatever the case is, if we are not in harmony with each other, it doesn't mean that there's got to be a fallout and disgruntledness and anger and bitterness when we see each other. We're just not on the same page. We're in a different book. We're in a different chapter in our life. So I try to greet people based on where I believe they fit in my life. I have family members that the Lord called me to pastor. And though they're not in my geographical location, they've acknowledged that I am the voice for their life. So what we did as kids stays there. That memory, that relationship, it stays there. It becomes precious. It becomes a plaque on the wall. But because God has given me charge of your soul, I have to change my position of the relationship. So there's work with relationships, but there is a constant openness. There's a constant grace. There's a constant understanding that we have to always give because I can guarantee you at some point you're going to need it. And Jesus said that the grace that you receive is going to be contingent on the grace that you've given. If you have not given the grace, Jesus says, don't you expect it. He says, to the same measure of grace you give, that same measure you're going to receive. I'm going to talk about one more thing and then we'll pick up with this again on tomorrow. I want to talk about our expectation of people. We have unfair expectation. Everybody believes in life they're the only one in your life, and they treat you accordingly. I was on the phone with my mom. No, I was on the phone with someone, and then my mom called. Well, my mom is a widow. Okay, she lives alone. And if my mom calls, I don't care where I am, I'm going to be more attentive to her call than I would my children's call because of the level and area of how vulnerable she is now that she is doing life alone to a certain degree. So, because of her condition, she gets certain privileges nobody else will get. It's my mother. So if I'm on the phone with you and my mom calls, sometimes I'll say, "Hey, that's my mom. Give me a second." Come back. "Hey, can I call you back? That's my mom. I need to see." Well, if you feel disrespected because I'm attending to my mom, then that says to me that you would be disrespectful to what's dear to me. So you don't get to choose what you are to people in a relationship. You have to leave it up to them to decide where they're going to place you, and then you file suit. There are some people, we cool, we go back like two Cadillac seats, and I've known them for many years, and they decided to place me on in a certain group or a certain shelf. So when I see them, you got about two times. I pay attention to how you greet me. Then I hold you responsible for that. Now anybody can have a bad day. That's why I don't do it on the first time. But the second time you greet me the same way, you've placed me somewhere, and I'm going to respect the boundaries that you place. So I'm not going to give you more than what you've given me. I'm gonna love you, respect you, and I'm going to respect where I believe you've placed me. In relationship, that's why transparency and honesty is so important. I give you this last thing. You do know there are people that rely on your relationship to try and gain favor. They will put words in your mouth, they'll put activity in your limbs because they want to be a part of this thing with you so much that they're willing to separate themselves from truth to be with you. Those are the people that you have to be careful, and you got to make sure that you don't get in relationship with those people, because if they do it to somebody else, they're going to do it to you too. Hey, that's it for today. That's coffee time for this morning. I am so grateful to God that you decided to spend your part of your morning with me. Thank you for giving me the honor, the privilege, as well as the pleasure to be able to help kick your morning off. I know we kind of started late. My apology for that. I've got a busy day today. I've got a ministers and elders meeting on tonight that I'm looking forward to. So there's a lot of prep that I decided I'm going to do today. I'm really grateful for every one of you who decided to hang out with me. You were born to win, predestined to succeed. There's nothing that can happen to you today that the wisdom inside of you cannot handle. You got to calm down, slow down, use emotional intelligence, trust God, and listen to wisdom. When you listen to wisdom, you will always win. Remember to think higher, speak life, seek wisdom, stay strong. I look forward to seeing you in the Father's plan. Have a wonderful day. And remember, the relationship can only yield what you've given it. If you want more out of it, you need to give more. Everybody say they love until there's a sacrifice. If there's no sacrifice in love, it's not love at all. It's lust. We're going to talk more about that on tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.